Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James. Today I'm joined by Matto Phillips. How's things, mate?
Good. Just good.
Just good. Settling as I kind of asked you even beforehand, just settling back into the country. People might have seen the kind of bonus episode, the kind of rushed out episode based on the Xbox Developer Direct that we put together the day after you arrive. You've now had a couple of days to settle back into the country.
Yes, I mean, I've
missing New Zealand.
Yes. Yes, I am. And now
I'm
I'm
still
sad.
wildly jealous that you went, but anyway. That was
Now I'm
only
just
because,
sad.
and I think I told you this. I don't think it's ever been on camera, but like we were planning on going in March of 2020,
yes.
and then the pandemic came along, and then since then, and at the point that we'd been booking it, we didn't know that we had a second kid on the way. We certainly didn't know a pandemic was on the way. So we missed it for the pandemic, and then after that, 2 kids. We can't afford shit anymore. So, good times. We haven't been back. We haven't gone there yet. We'll do it one day.
So that would explain the get fucked I was hearing during one patched episode.
Geez, was I that on the nose about it? Good. I'm glad. Suck shit, you deserve it. Lucky bastard. All right, it's patched updates time now. We alluded to this during December that we weren't going to have one that month. We were going to kind of bundle both December and January together. Matto's spent most of January traveling up to this point. I don't know if you've kind of squeezed anything in the couple of days since you've been back, but there we go. Which brings you to a grand total of 4 for the entire kind of 2 months. So I'll lead it off with you because I've got tons to talk about game-wise. Maybe there's some crossover with what we're playing, maybe not. I don't know. But go for it, mate.
Right. So the first one, I did talk about this last time. I think, I can't remember. Too long ago. It was the Horizon Forbidden West DLC.
Yeah, I can't remember that.
I can't remember either.
The last time we would have been talking about potentially it might have come up because I would have been talking about Lego Horizon last time.
Yes, I think I might have started it, and I've played it. I've finished it. It is good. I'm slightly confused that people were review bombing it for something that happened for 0.5 of a second.
Yeah.
I'm just scratching my head going, really? That's what you review bombing it for? Not, the 7 to 8 hours of gameplay you play, of enjoyment. You're more upset about 0.5 of a second.
People
of something.
Petty and fucking dumb.
Idiot. Dumb. Just dumb. I mean...
for the sake of the conversation, I'm double checking to see when you actually started the DLC. I'm just checking your trophy stamps.
Alright.
Oh, actually... Wait.
Oh.
Burning Shores. I'm definitely in Burning Shores. Did you start... Oh, geez, did you give it a go back in 2023 initially? Oh, wait, no, sorry. I'll look at it because it's got... Sorry. The PlayStation app divides it into 2 sides, yours and mine. So sorry, yeah, you picked up the very end of November, so it would have missed the cut last time, but that's right.
Oh, there we go. Yes, good DLC. I rate it, especially when you haven't played the game for what, a good maybe 2 years, maybe a year. I can't remember. And as always, forgetting what the controls are, what you do when you see a machine, where the weak points are, which is probably incredibly helpful for some of the enemies in that game, in that DLC, because they are some tough bastards.
Yeah, and yeah, to update you on that one, you got the Platinum on the 3rd of May in 2023, so it's been 18 months.
Oh, did I? Okay.
And for me, I got it a couple of weeks after you, so even when Burning Shores came out, it was a while. It took a while, so... it had been a while. Oh no, hang on, I got that Platinum around the time that Burning Shores came out. I think I rushed to get the Platinum right before the expansion launched, but certainly it had been a while. Yeah, my story trophies then go back to the original launch in 2022 because I reviewed it. So yeah, it had been a long time. Similar sort of story for you. So good shit.
Yeah, it's good. I had fun with it. That's all I'm going to say about it. 9 out of 10.
We'll wait and see what they do for future Horizon stuff, considering there's potential online games that have been cancelled. There's still potentially one other. Guerrilla... Yeah, who knows? PlayStation's a mess at the moment.
Yes. Who would have thought? But anyway, let's move away from PlayStation and move on to Nintendo. And
Go
I,
on.
for some stupid reason, I thought, you know what? I'm gonna give. It's been sitting on my shelf for years. Haven't bothered to play it. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna give new Pokemon Snap a go. And my God, there are so many Pokemon in that game that I do not know.
It's pretty
of.
overwhelming, right?
It is. I've seen, like, I go, oh, there's a Magikarp. There's about 40 other Pokemon. I have no idea what they are. And to be honest, they're not the most creative names I've ever seen. It's like Ducklet. I thought, come on,
I think
guys.
that was like a starter, maybe.
Swan. I think one was called, not Swan, but had the word Swan in it, and it looked like a swan. I thought, that's used to be more creative, Nintendo. I know you've got, what, 7,000 different Pokemon now. Maybe just, you know, be more creative with your naming.
Yeah, it evolves into Swanna. Which would be
Swanna.
the one that you're talking about.
Oh, God. Just
Look,
at
to
that
be
as the
fair,
buttons.
these days you got to just to come up with a Pokemon name, you've got to assemble 3/4 of the alphabet and try and make a name out of it. And ideally, something that kind of loosely makes sense. That's also a 12th Man reference for anyone who's not familiar. It's a hard ask to, I guess, name a Pokemon these days when you got more than 1,000 of them and only so many ideas you can come up with. And I don't know.
Yes.
Weirdest Pokemon
Weirdest.
names.
I don't want to know. Something stupid.
I mean, our mate Garbodor has appeared in the
Garbodor.
It's been a while. Been a while since I don't have the graphic ready, so I can't just drop him in there because that was definitely unscripted. Oh no, there's a Pokemon called Guzzlord.
Sure, no. I don't want to know what it looks like. Does it look like a jerry can? Because that's the absolute creativity of what a Pokemon looks like. No, he's pulling funny faces here. It's just he seems confused of uncertainty.
I don't really know what's going on with it. I
Let
think this one's worth googling.
I'm
It is an Ultra
Googling it
Beast,
now.
one of several species of Pokemon native to Ultra Space. So this is some Ultra
Guzzlord.
Sun and
What the hell is that thing? It's got 6 mouths. What? I don't know what it is.
there's arms popping out of mouths, and yeah,
It's got claws. It's got a head.
But honestly, most of the ones that and this is just what was it Google? What do they call it? The Google AI thing. Anyway, they've kind of suggested for me. It's Mimikyu. Which makes sense. The name makes sense. Trubbish, Garbodor, Magikarp, Alolan Executor, like Golduck.
Executor.
Like most of these
Golduck.
most of these Slowpoke. Like most of these aren't weird names. So, Screen Rant has come through with a 10 dumbest Pokemon names in series history ranked.
Yeah, we could rank 10 dumbest websites too, and Screen Rant would be number
right
one.
up there. But they've come up with Magikarp's 10th. This list is lost.
Just stop reading right there.
Seal,
Let me guess,
as in the original one from the original series. Seal is number 6.
Seal
or 7.
Seal.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Pikachu's number 1. No,
Sudowoodo's 5. Vanillite 4. Flapple. That's kind of ridiculous.
Flapple.
Ekans is number 2. It's snake spelt backwards. Licky Licky is number 1.
No,
the Licky Tongue baby version.
Get out of here, Screen Rant.
Yeah, Screen Rant. That's you're not helping your reputation.
There's a reason why no one takes you seriously because of shit like that.
Good times. Anyway, so you're playing new Pokemon Snap. In terms of snapping Pokemon, are you enjoying it?
It's okay. It just feels very repetitive to try and get points to unlock levels to get different Pokemon in your little route thing. I've taken about 50% of my pictures I've been of Bidoof.
Good. The
Which
goat.
I didn't know was a beaver type Pokemon, as you
never looked at it after all those years talking about Bidoof with Damo.
No, never. All I had to do is just Google the picture and go, right, that's what Bidoof looks like. I don't particularly care what it does. Don't care what type of Pokemon it is because I ain't playing the games.
That's fair.
So I have no need to worry about what it is, does, whatever. Who cares? I know what it looks like, so every time someone says, hey, that's a Bidoof. That's all I need to know. Okay. Like, cool, or Garbodor. The only two Pokemon I know past the Gold and
Yeah.
Silver era. If you show me any other Pokemon after Gold and Silver, I'm not going to have a clue, but I could probably put two and two together because Pokemon or Game Freaks not that creative with their names these days.
I think Gen 3 was still pretty solid, and then from there,
I
things
reckon
started
I
getting a bit
could
slippery.
probably almost guess it without even trying.
Yeah, it's true.
And if I say if Pokemon don't or Game Freaks don't get on the old dicklet Pokemon bandwagon,
Oh my god! So I
missed
took
opportunity. Oh no!
I took my kids to a playground yesterday, and then they did a great job. I'm like, all right, we'll get you. I'll get you a little present of some sort, because after 6.5 weeks of school holidays, everyone's driving himself like each other mad at the end of it. So the fact that they put in like they did really well, I was going to encourage that shit. So what do you want? They go Pokemon cards. All right, so we went off to Big W and we bought a booster pack of Pokemon cards each. Dicklet was one of them. I died. But then like in silence, I couldn't say it. I'm like, hey kids, look, it looks like a dick. Like, it's just not a thing you can do.
Wrong audience. You're like, hey, it's a dick. I mean, this.
Yeah, look, you got a Wiglet thing.
This.
Disappointment.
So Google it when you get older, kid.
Yeah.
Then you'll understand.
All right.
Oh, well.
Yeah, new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, it's good. I reckon I've been playing it longer than I did the original Pokemon Snap, which I found out was incredibly short. I thought, oh yeah, back in the days, like, yeah, I remember this game being long. 45 minutes later, finished. I was like, oh.
Yeah, we've got pretty
so short.
Pretty fond memories. According to How Long to Beat, it was 4 hours long, the original Pokemon Snap. But that'd be
Rubbish.
Yeah, there'd be a bit of filler. You had to kind of repeat some of the levels a few times to do a certain thing to unlock another region. So maybe there's something to that. But yeah, it was really short. This one
did not feel like 4 hours.
I can't remember how long I played it. I can't remember if I reviewed it. I certainly played. New Pokemon Snap. I enjoyed it. A bit like you. Like it's not amazing. I think after decades of people getting excited for a new Pokemon Snap, it was probably a bit of a letdown at the end of the day. But oh yeah, I was the one that reviewed it. Good on me.
Go you.
Yeah, I think after all those years, maybe it was a bit of a letdown, but it was still fun enough. I don't think the original Pokemon Snap is some sort of revolutionary idea, but
wasn't.
It was
no
good fun.
way. It's good fun. It wasn't revolutionary at all. But anyway, on to my next game. A Japanese game. It is Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Oh, right. So, when I was playing it, I've been playing it for about 40 hours at the moment. Maybe more. Up to a point, it was my favorite Yakuza game out of all of them. Until
You had to start grinding.
I had to start grinding. There is an incredibly hard boss. And I mean incredibly difficult. Because you get to the same level as they are, you're no chance. It is one of the most frustrating things ever.
Do you have to be like really over leveled or something?
Oh yeah. And it was really, really irritating. It's like, oh, I'm really enjoying this game. Got up to this point, like, cool, I know this guy. And it was torture. And I reckon it took me a good, 15 hours of grinding to actually beat this boss.
This person.
And then, when I got past that, there was another boss.
Like back to back.
And maybe not quite back to back, but a little bit further on, close enough, and then it's the same thing again. I was like, oh, I've got to grind again. I was like, I don't want to do this, so I stopped playing it. But I will eventually go back to it. It's just, I can't be bothered doing another 15 hours of grinding. Overall, some stories and all that, brilliant. I had myself a good giggle through it all.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm
it's
still
just
so keen. But
the story's good. I like the story, but it's just those couple of big boss battles that make it incredibly frustrating. People will say, "Oh yeah, get over it." I'll say, "Shut your face."
That's fair. No, I've heard there are a few kind of heavy grinding spots in both this one and.
Oh, it's not heavy. I would knock whatever's above heavy.
Oh,
that's what it is. It's It's not
How
fun.
long do you reckon? I know you haven't. Yeah, how long do you reckon you'd need to spend grinding to be ready for this thing? If you were equal level in the first place and you were still getting hammered and you've got to grind.
Say equal level. It sort of depends. I think it just
Is
depends
playstyle
on
a bit of a factor? Loadouts, those sorts of things.
loadouts, whatever your class is. It's sort of like your JRPG because it does mention the Dragon Quest. That's sort of how
Yeah.
the combat style is.
Yeah, I remember that it was kind of Ichiban's a giant Dragon Quest fan
Dragon
and
Quest
wants to
fan,
be like
yeah.
the hero from Dragon Quest. So then that's what
Yes.
inspired the gameplay being a turn-based thing.
And then you got these sort of classes of sort of certain, I'm guessing, Dragon Quest, also say Dragon Age, Dragon Quest classes. So it just goes by that. It's just in its own
Right.
like modern style, which is fun. I do like it, but just to say that grind, it sucks. Really sucks.
I mean, I'm a long way away from being able to. Well, I still got to start, but like I'm a long way away from playing Like a Dragon. But I might be able to handle that maybe a little bit better just because of my many years of JRPG grinding. But it feels like the sort of thing where maybe you just whip out the remote play it on a portal, play it on a phone, whatever it is, and you can just kind of chip away at it while you're watching something else, and you can just bash out those encounters without having to use too much brain power. Which obviously wasn't really a thing you could do back in the day. Your TV was occupied by whatever it was, like whatever the game was you're playing. These days, flick it remote, watch some Seinfeld while you're. I say that because I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld lately. For the first time, by the way, I never watched Seinfeld until recently.
I myself have watched episodes of Seinfeld, but I've never fully sat down to watch it because it's one of those things where you don't necessarily have to watch it from the start. You can just jump in, watch an episode, and just laugh because that's the whole TV show. If anyone doesn't know, the whole TV show is just about nothing. That's the whole
Which
thing.
Is
it's
hilarious
hilarious
because I've just watched the episode where where George and Jerry are pitching the idea of a show to NBC where the show is about nothing.
Which is what Seinfeld is. It's just a TV show about nothing.
Yeah. The whole hook of the episode is pitching the exact show that they're already making. It's great. Good stuff.
It's great. And then, finally, onto my final game. So I thought I'll get off Like a Dragon. I'll go play something more relaxing, more fun, and hopefully more enjoyable. It is Indiana Jones.
Oh, Great Circle.
Great Circle, not Gold Circle. Great Circle. I think that's the recent one.
Is that the one you've been playing since you've gotten back, or what's the one you've been playing since you got back?
Yeah, that is the one I've been playing since I got back. I played it on the 1st of January, and then I never went back to it.
Oh yeah, fair
until about 3 days later. And I haven't got too far into it. I think I played maybe 5-6 hours, and all I can say is, it is a fun game.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen for it.
So enjoyable. It's more the fact that it feels like an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about it. And also, I always had that concern of, what's going to happen? Is it just more of an open world thing? Is it a level thing? This, that, whatever? Is it going to be action or what? And it's kind of a bit of everything. And that's what I like about it. You can go your way. You can be like a stealthy person and just sneak your way around doing archaeology stuff. Or you can just go around, you do what I do, find the heaviest thing possible, like a weapon, stick, toilet brush, shovel.
Seriously, toilet brush?
No, not toilet brush. Maybe a brush. But, like, shovel and smack them over their head. It's always so satisfying when they're just not paying attention. There's also an achievement, too, with the guitar. If you smash them over the head with the guitar, you unlock an achievement.
Well,
it is quite funny.
I'll be ticking that off once it comes to PlayStation. I've got the game. Like, I bought it, including the big fancy globe. Like, I've got it on Xbox, and yet, I don't know, the Xbox is here, I'd have to disconnect it and bring it in the house. I'll play it on PlayStation.
All I can say is, for PlayStation people, you're in for an absolute enjoyment. If you're a fan of if you're a fan of Indiana Jones, you're gonna love it. I'm a fan of Indiana Jones first three movies. I don't care for the fourth one. Haven't watched the fifth. But first three, brilliant, and that's what it feels like. And also Troy Baker. If I didn't know it was him doing the voice of Indiana Jones, he would have fooled me.
But as in, like, he really sounds like Harrison Ford.
If you didn't really pay too much attention to it, you would say, yeah, that sounds like young Harrison Ford, not old Harrison Ford.
Yeah, not current day Harrison Ford, but
yeah, but
that's awesome.
If you
That's
didn't,
that's a massive.
if you didn't really
tip.
pay too much attention to it, and you go, oh, it actually sounds like him.
No, that's awesome because I'm a big Troy Baker fan. Obviously, he's been a big part of some of my favorite games. But I started to notice, and one of the games that triggered me most about it was Spider-Man Miles Morales with his role in that one. And I'm just I picked his voice straight away. I'm like, oh, Troy Baker's really starting to just sound like Troy Baker, as opposed to him putting a voice on and being a character. Those lines were starting to get blurred. Something that, as much might upset. Well, Troy's probably not watching, but Nolan North, I wasn't having that issue with, for example. Obviously someone else who was right at the very top end of the tree, or a Doug Cockle or someone like that. As Geralt from The Witcher. Like some of those really acclaimed characters or like voice actors in really acclaimed roles and potentially lots of roles. A lot of them are starting to, like, you could still go, oh yeah, it's that person, but they sound different, or they got this. Whereas Troy Baker was really starting to sound like the voice of Troy Baker that I know. So that's really awesome to hear that he's kind of injected something into this, or been able to kind of capture that voice and not necessarily sound like Troy. We'll see how we go when I play it, I guess.
I think Disney also too is like, hey, you gotta do it
all in.
Otherwise, we'll get Mark Hamill. He'll do just as good of a job.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. That's an awesome thing to hear. So, and yeah, presumably it's coming to other platforms in the next. Well, it was meant to be the first quarter of the year, so sometime before the end of March, Indy should pop up on PlayStation. So I'm keen. I don't know when I'm going to get time because the next few months are kind of stacked. But and then April's just obviously with the episode we recorded the other day. Even April's become a bit heavier now, but keen to play it. How many hours do you reckon you've put in so far?
I'd say maybe 5 or 6. I've done a lot of exploring, even though, let's be honest, you don't have to do it. You just do it.
Oh, it's kind of point, right?
You just find where you go, oh, what's in here? And then there's like little puzzles, which I do like. There is lots of thought going into those puzzles. I know people get irritated, go, oh, that's stupid. I go, no, it's just very, very thoughtful. You're an archaeologist. You should be able to figure it out.
Makes sense to me.
Not that hard.
Well, yeah, looking forward to presumably hearing a bit more about it with our updates next month. Keen to learn more. Were there any? No, that was all of them.
That's
all the games.
That is all. That is all for my games.
Over to me. I'm going to quickly bring up PSN profile so that I have my list handy. But I'll start by talking about, because the overwhelming majority, like usual, the overwhelming majority of my games are on PlayStation. There is one exception though, and I've already put together the review on the website, so I won't talk about it a huge amount. But thanks to Nintendo, they sent me Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, and it was kind of good to go back to a Wii game that became a 3DS game that is now a HD version on the Switch that is then worse than the more recent game, which also got a HD remaster on the Switch. But it's still a really good. It's a mess. But it's a great game. It's good to go back. Still some like those. Have you played Donkey Kong Country Returns or Tropical Freeze?
I have played Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii and the DS.
You remember those levels where it's kind of the silhouette of Donkey Kong and Diddy?
Yeah.
Just kind of their black silhouette in the back. Like, that is still some of the best video game artistry I think I've ever seen. And there's obviously some games that have done an extraordinary job, but few games look as good as those. Well, I mean, Donkey Kong Country Returns looks fantastic anyway, but those levels with that particular art style they're going for looks absurdly good. Big shout out to Nintendo, who sent me a little media kit with some goodies as well. I've put it up on social media, but my kids are very happy with my son's wearing the Kong letters. They're like pins that he's been pinning to his shirt almost daily since it's arrived. He's loving it. And and a Donkey Kong bum bag that my daughter's just throwing all of her random toys into that'll absolutely never be worn outside of the house for, I'd like to think, fairly obvious reasons, but here we are. And a little barrel that my recommendation to Nintendo next time is, if you're going to send merch, like Donkey Kong merch and it's a barrel, send like some sort of larger scale version so that we can actually pretend that we're throwing it at someone. Because that'd be good fun for social media stuff. But I've been using this little bad boy just to store pens and shit. It's nice. Thanks Nintendo for that. But the game, I mean, yeah, I guess you've had the same sort of experience. You played on the Wii, you played on the 3DS. Like, it's a great game. There's not much that they've really added. They added a quote unquote modern mode for it, which basically just adds an extra heart to both Donkey Kong and Diddy. So they've got 3 each. That makes it just that little bit easier. You've got that little bit of extra grace. But I feel like, and I don't know about you, and I guess some of your memories of either Returns or potentially Tropical Freeze, I find that when I lose in Donkey Kong, I'm not losing because I've lost all my hearts. I'm losing because I've fallen in a hole, like on a minecart level or one of those rocket levels, the Flappy Bird style rocket levels. At which point, if you fall off the mat, like, you can have full hearts, it doesn't matter, you lose, it's over. So I find that wasn't necessarily an overly useful addition. I'm sure it is for some. If you're a kid having your first go at it, maybe. But even then, those kids are then going to get frustrated because that doesn't help you in what are ultimately the hardest levels, which are those minecarts or rocket barrel levels, which like were driving me mad at different points as well. Still, but I'm hopeful that one of these days we'll get a third one of these Returns games. Actually, Tropical Freeze didn't have the Returns name in it, did it? It was just Donkey Kong Country.
No,
Tropical
I think it was
Freeze.
just Tropical Freeze.
But hopefully this kind of modern, hopefully we get another one. It feels like an obvious thing to go for with the Switch 2. They've kind of got all their remasters out. You can play these old ones now on. Well, you can play every Donkey Kong Country except for Donkey Kong 64.
64.
You can play them all on the Switch, which means you'll be able to play them on the Switch 2. So now's the time, I think, to pull the trigger on a third one. Whether that's Retro doing it, because obviously they're still caught up with Metroid Prime 4 at the moment, or someone else, remains to be seen. But I'd love to see another Donkey Kong Country at this point, because they're really good games. And Nintendo should want it. They sell well. But beyond that, that's my Switch experience. Then everything else from here is PlayStation. Some of the stuff I've been playing with my son. He's starting to kind of get into games a little bit. In fact, he's busy playing Super Mario Brothers, the original, at the moment, via the Switch. The Switch is a Nintendo Switch Online. He is now entered World 8.
So he's actually done it legit. He hasn't found any of the shortcuts.
He found one, but it just took him from World 4 to World 5. Like he skipped like 2 or 3 levels. That's about it.
That's impressive.
Absolutely crushing it. I helped him with the Bowser. So like he needed a bit of help with some of the earlier worlds as he kind of understood how the game kind of worked a little bit, and I kind of guided him through a few there. But then like he sat down today and I was finishing off a game that I'll talk about in a moment. And I was kind of working on the final boss for it, so I was kind of in my own zone. And he goes, "Daddy, I did it!" And like he'd finished the World 5 Bowser level himself. Like, oh shit! Okay, it's all starting to click. I had to finish the World 7 one because it was kind of a half puzzle thing, if you remember. Like it's been a long time, but like the whole dungeon, like the whole Bowser level is basically empty. It's just a loop, but there's just a little musical cue as you go through. So if you follow the path up and you hear a little coin sound, great, stick to that path. But then it'll split a couple different ways again, and you got to choose the right one, and you'll either hear the coin sound again or you don't. And so you start to kind of work out what the path is. He didn't pick up on some of those audio cues, so I kind of took over for a little bit, and we literally finished the level with 1 second to go, jumping over Bowser. I had to use the rewind a couple of times in that one, the Nintendo Switch rewind feature, because he got to Bowser with 7 seconds left. And Bowser's throwing hammers, and there's fireballs flying everywhere. And he's, still learning, so it's kind of patient, and he's trying to, like, mate, you can't be patient, you got no time, chuck it over here. And I just, like, bum rushed straight through, jumped over the top, got the axe with a second to go, done. But it's been good. Like he's crushing it. So as well as that, we played some back on the PS3, Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes, because it's just a nice, accessible, kind of family-friendly sort of game. We've been playing that in a bit of co-op. That's been good. We finished that one together. So now we've moved on to Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham on the PS4. He's having a good time with that one as well. Not much to say about them. Like they're Lego games, and I'm not really playing it for anything other than helping my son, learn video games a little bit and have a good time. But it's been a good experience regardless. Beyond that, though, the meat of what I've been playing from December through to now, Tribreaker, Sacred Symbols Odyssey. So the latest game from Lilymo Games, Colin Moriarty's team, which is then a game based on Sacred Symbols, their PlayStation podcast. It's an old school brick breaker in a few different ways, but then they've changed up because they did get the feedback with the last game, and I agreed with it when I put together my review back in, 2020 or 2021 or whatever it was. They kind of ran out of ideas pretty fast, and they were just kind of regurgitating the same few things over and over. They've really diversified it. There's like levels that brick breakers, but you're playing, it's like a Frogger style level. There's a whole bunch of different sorts of things that are going on with the experience. It's really, really good. Reviews on the website for people to go check out. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2, the remasters that came out in December, jumped into those. But then I stepped away from, I played Soul Reaver back in the day, so I was confident enough in putting together the review. I'm like, okay, they're not changing the story. I can comment on all the visuals. I can comment on the gameplay parts of it. Good, we're good to go. Review time. Did that, then went back to play the game a couple of weeks later, and the trick with it is like the level design. It's an old PS1 thing. The environments look very similar, so I kind of popped back into the game. All right, cool. Let's keep going and try and get this one finished up. And I just got myself completely disoriented. Can't work out where I'm going. I'm going to need to start the game again from scratch just to have that momentum and just keep charging on through. Otherwise, I'm screwed. So that's a bit of a shame. But the remasters are great. It's just, well, it's more of a user thing in that case. I moved on to other games to play and review and left that one behind. And yeah, here we are. Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, similar sort of deal. Played Dragon Quest 3 back in the day. Played the remake. Enjoyed it. Put together the review. But went back to it over these Christmas holidays. Smashed that one out. More PS3 stuff. My son and I have been playing Wonderbook. Do you remember that little gimmick that PlayStation put out on the PS3? It was like it would use the camera accessory they had, and then it was like this book that you'd pull out and you'd open it. Like they basically sold like none of these things, but Wonderbook Book of Spells was like a Harry Potter based thing. There was like Book of Spells and Book of Potions. I don't have that one, but it's a very AR sort of thing. It's very much at the end of the day quite ahead of the curve, because obviously we saw what Kinect's trying to do, and we're seeing what VR's trying to do, and we're seeing a whole bunch of AR stuff through phones and whatnot. This was a little bit ahead of the curve, and it didn't work because they were ahead of their time. But like you'd open up the book and then you'd wave your PlayStation Move around to cast a spell, and on the screen you're seeing that turning into a wand, and he was having a good time lighting shit on fire and whatnot with his wand. So good fun times. But I'll tick that off. I'll probably go because at this point I can't look at a trophy list with 5% on it. I'm probably going to go back to it and try and knock it all off and chase down a platinum for it. But kind of cool. Visions of Mana I went back to, so I played it initially on the Switch back when I was reviewing it, but I started on PlayStation to be able to comment on it, and then I love the Mana games. That was like my second most anticipated game of last year. Needed to play more of it, and did on the PlayStation this time around, so went and finished that one up in the early days of January. I've started, and we spoke about this I think in our November episode, you were talking about Star Wars Outlaws. Yes. I started it. I'm a little bit further through it than what I was before, but I have kind of gotten caught up since by a game that, well, we've already discussed, but it's consumed a large chunk of my January. I started playing Outlaws, was having a great time with Outlaws. The next day I was like, I think I need to change things up, and I've got an itch. Like now that we're getting really close to Monster Hunter Wilds, I've got an itch that needs scratching here. And so I started firing up Monster Hunter World, and we've been talking for ages about playing it, and it didn't really work for us in the end. But we'll definitely get our chance with Wilds this year. but jumped into Iceborne, and suddenly 40, 50 hours of Iceborne was played over the course of January. And I finished that one up properly this time, and fuck, I love Monster Hunter. And now I'm also like totally ready to go for Wilds, which is good, just in the right space, the right zone. So ready to kind of smash that one out. But yeah, and then I will get back to Outlaws because I was enjoying it. But I'm now, I don't know. There's about 4 or 5 games that have kind of jumped the queue, or that I've been playing since. I'm going to have to go back to it and probably have the similar sort of trouble that I had with, the level design of Star Wars Outlaws is a bit better. But there's going to be that little bit of a disconnect between what was going on. How does Jyn Erso, how does everything work? No, it's not. Jyn Erso is the one from Rogue One. What's her name?
K? Is it K?
Yeah. No,
K Vest?
K Vest, yeah.
Yes.
I got my Star Wars protagonist mixed up.
I think that's how forgettable it is, to be honest.
Well, I'm early days though, so we'll see how I'm feeling at the end of it. And then beyond that, it's some real recent releases, and all 3 of these I've got to churn out reviews for. Tales of Grace's F Remastered, so the Tales games. This was one that came to the Wii exclusively in Japan. Then it got a PS3 port for the West. And then it's now I've gotten a remaster. Playing through that one, played it back on the PS3 back in the day, enjoyed it there. I'm enjoying the remaster now. The review is written. It's probably already gone up on the Player 2 website in the meantime, so people can go check that one out. I'm also playing, but I'm a bit further behind in terms of my work on this one, Freedom Wars Remastered, which is a great game to kind of get a remaster right now because it is a Monster Hunter-like. This was a game that was kind of on the Vita, trapped on the Vita. Everyone was kind of hoping would be. There was a whole bunch of commentary at the time like, Vita needs a Monster Hunter because Monster Hunter was huge for the PSP back in the day, and really drove sales of that console, as well as the ability to crack it wide open and emulate everything on it. But Monster Hunter was huge for that platform, and then Monster Hunter went over to Nintendo at the time of the Vita because you got all those 3DS games, 3, 4. There's Generations, a million different Monster Hunter games. PlayStation lost its Monster Hunter, so they were throwing a whole bunch of ideas out there, working with other developers. Freedom Wars was absolutely the best of the whole lot of them, but it didn't sell. And there's a remaster that's come out. Bandai Namco's put it out for PlayStation and Switch, and it's sold even worse. So it's a bit of a shame because it's an amazing game. The reviews even of the remaster have been really positive, but no one's buying it. So go figure. But stay tuned for a review on the website. We got a day one, like a launch day code for that one. So I'm behind the pace on it, but I'll talk more about it probably next month as well. And the last game that I need to talk about is Eternal Strands, which, assuming I've got my timing right, and I'm pretty sure I do, and if I've got it wrong, I'm delaying the episode to later into Tuesday. But the embargo's up, I think, a few hours before this.
If so, we could just put a big beep through this part.
I won't, because if I'm off, I'm literally off by like an hour or two, nothing more. I'm pretty sure it might be 8 a.m. on Tuesday, so I'll just push the show back 1 hour. Eternal Strands, though, comes from Mike Dara, who used to work at BioWare. It's a debut game from a brand new team, Yellow Brick Games. It's a weird one. So it's an action game in a lot of ways with some RPG elements. It's got, like you're kind of going out on runs, collecting crafting materials, going back, building new gear, going back out there. But it's also got this kind of Shadow of the Colossus style component. There's these big arcs or big epic beasts that are kind of out in the world, and there's only one of them. Every run you go out there's only one that will appear, and they kind of, especially as more of them unlock and you progress through the game, it's kind of random what will appear in the area. But you basically scale them just like you would in Shadow of the Colossus or Monster Hunter or Dragon's Dogma or something like that, where you're kind of this tiny little speck of a person that's kind of shuffling your way up, and you're trying to find these weak points on the on the big beast in the first place to be able to bring it down, or you're just kind of smacking away at its limbs to do damage to it. Like there's kind of exposed weak points, chip away at those to weaken it. You can either kind of kill the thing, fine, whatever, harvest some of them, like take some of the materials, or you can kind of every different one of these beasts has kind of like a weak spot that you need to expose to be able to quote unquote harvest it. Which gets you these new threads, which then allows you to improve your magical skills in the game. You can only improve those skills by harvesting the beast in the first place. So it's kind of like a bit of a puzzle to actually work out how to get that spot exposed. As you, and I guess a little hint for anyone who's going to play it, as you take them down the first time, and the first time around, it doesn't matter. Like if you harvest it, great. If you just take them down, whatever. That's all you need to do to be able to progress through the game, I suppose. But there is a need, like some of the main campaign stuff does require you to actually harvest a few of them on a couple of occasions, and I had no idea how to do. Like I lost, and this was last night. It's one of the very final missions in the game. Required me to harvest a few of them and to kind of collect a few specific materials to then create a certain thing that would allow me to progress the story, and I just could not work out what I was doing. It was about from about 1 a.m. till 3 a.m. I just kept killing these things, but couldn't work out how to expose their weak point, essentially. And then I realized in the codex section, if I just sat there and read it, it goes, oh yeah, if you do this and this and this. So please, if you're not sure how to harvest those some of those beasts, those arcs along the way, read up on the codex. It will tell you exactly how to do it. But I had no idea for ages, and I was just kind of stumbling blind. And when you're in a review period, and you feel like you're just beating your head up against a wall and you just can't work out a puzzle or something, it's infuriating. And at 3 a.m. last night, I was like, fuck it, that's it. I'm done with this game. And then I woke up this morning, oh, maybe I'll read the codex. Maybe it says something in there. And sure enough, it did. So finished the game this afternoon. That was the one I was playing while Noah was crushing it in Mario Brothers this afternoon. So we're both having great success in the words of Borat. So that's a shit ton of games. But Eternal Strands, my review's up on the Player 2 website now, by the time you're watching this. Great, but not perfect game. Like it's your solid 8 out of 10 sort of thing. It is on Game Pass, so people can go and check that one out, but it's on PlayStation as well. It's on PC. Really cool idea. I encourage people to check it out, but it is also a very busy period with game releases at the moment, now and through the next couple of months. So I also worry a little bit for the team that maybe it just gets lost in the shuffle. I'm hoping the Game Pass money is like ensure that they've made a profit already. Maybe they've already gotten through all of that, the finance part of it, and they can just go about making their next game, whether it's a sequel to this or something else. But in terms of actually getting people playing the game, I am a little bit worried for them because there's just so much stuff, especially coming up in Feb, which probably leads to the idea of what are we going to be playing coming up. Obviously, you've got some stuff that we've alluded to.
Yes.
But what do you plan on playing through Feb?
Well, yeah, more continue to play Indiana Jones. Maybe go back to Yakuza, and I do not remember when the release date is, but Monster Hunter.
Feb 28.
So we will not be talking about that next month.
I will be.
You will be. I won't.
I'll leave it there.
That's it. Maybe
I'll leave that there.
Maybe Hogwarts Legacy. I don't know.
It's
another game I haven't played yet.
Actually, no. I shouldn't get too carried away with that. I don't know when our episode actually goes up. I maybe won't be able to. No, I probably won't be able to actually.
No, you won't.
It's about 3 or 4 days before the game comes out. The last episode of the month, so maybe not. That's a shame. We'll see. But Hogwarts Legacy, did you say?
Yeah. I downloaded it. I installed it about 2 months ago, and I haven't touched it since.
Yeah, right.
So I'm going to be a wizard.
I mean, it's a really good game. There's so much to do. Like I was thinking for a long time. All right, this is the game I'm going to platinum. I love Harry Potter. The game is really, really good, but there's just so much. There's so much stuff to do, in a good way, but also in kind of a frustrating way if you're a completionist too. What else? Indiana Jones, Hogwarts Legacy. I think I missed something else there. Yakuza.
Maybe go back to Yakuza. I
And
don't
Monster
know.
Hunter, of
Maybe
course.
Monster Hunter. Maybe Monster Hunter World.
I'll jump
Maybe
in
go
for
back
some
and fit.
co-op with
Maybe,
you. We can tick
maybe
that
I
box.
should say maybe I can go back and finally finish Iceborne because I got up to Iceborne. This was what 6, 7 years ago, whenever it came out.
Yeah.
Then I just stopped playing it for some reason. Don't know why. It's just like, oh, cool, that's Iceborne. I'm done. I just never went back to it.
Well, like I said to you off camera the other day, I did some missions on my own. Like I kind of spent a bit of time kind of grinding it out against some elder dragons and whatnot from the base game because that's stuff I could actually beat. But like the barn burrow at the very beginning of Iceborne was kicking my ass because there's a big jump between like high rank stuff and then master rank, and if your gear's not up to it, you're in a pretty bad spot. And my gear was definitely not up to it. But grounded out against some of those, then started firing some SOSs out there just to speed things up and get some. And like you're seeing these people who are hunter rank and master rank 999 just piling into your game. You're like, I could just sit back and watch. Like I'll just do your thing, and I'll just scoop up all the parts as they fall down. Which kind of helped speed things up a little bit, and then I got into the swing of things from there. But I mean, if you're like, I'll go a few rounds with you. There's still plenty to play, and I guess I'll talk about some of the games I plan on playing this month. But we can finally tick off that we played co-op Monster Hunter World if we do this.
After 6 years of saying, "Oh, we're gonna play Monster Hunter together," it was a running joke at one point. That was quite funny.
I mean, Damo was on the show when we were still talking about doing that.
Yeah, I know. That's how long ago it was.
We'll message him in the next few days because with Wilds coming out, we'll try and make it happen with Wilds because I'm sure he'll play it, and if not, because I know for a long time he didn't have a PS5. I've got 3 of them these days, so I'll just send him one. But...
Oh, so are you finally gonna get 2 more so you can claim that you have
5 PS5?
5 PS5s.
I did see a friend of the show, Drew Agnew, who may or may not be watching or listening right now, put a video up on his YouTube channel talking about how he had 3 PS5s and had to spend a whole bunch of time justifying it. I'm like, mate, don't justify it. I got 3.
What do you need 3 PS5s for? What's the reason behind it?
Kind of different.
Unless you collected them
within the house.
But you can't just unplug it and put it in another room. Just buy some extra cords.
To be fair, like that spoke to my heart because I've got one here in the studio, and I'll fire up a download for a game in here, and then I like during the day, for example, and then I'll come in and boom, I'll just play at night. I've got one in the living room. I've got one in kind of the family room that the kids now use that I'm playing Lego on, for example. I've kind of got one in any of the 3 places I could play, and I can remotely connect to any of them at any given point. So it's kind of handy in that sense, but I wouldn't have 3 had it not been for PlayStation sending me some consoles along the way. I couldn't possibly afford it or justify it. So I would have done exactly what you're describing. Disconnect it, carry it.
I'm more surprised that no one's done a video going, I've got 1 Xbox One. I'm surprised no one's ever done that.
Well, no one's going to buy multiple Xbox Ones because apparently the Series X and S is tracking worse than the Xbox One in terms of console sales at the same equivalent time in its lifetime. So
wow,
that's
wow,
that's rough. Anything else that you can see yourself playing? Obviously, Monster Hunter is on the radar. Are you interested in Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii?
Oh,
Avowed, Civilization.
Oh, Avowed. Oh, no, stop saying all those games. I'm not going to be able to fit them all in. Definitely not Pirate Yakuza because I'm still 4 games behind. Ish.
Wish I was just 4 games behind.
I think it's 4 games. Unlike you, which are about a good solid 12.
Yeah.
All.
I am going to start 0 soon. So Bets and I've still been chatting, and the whole Yakuza like a podcast idea is still a thing that we want to do.
I'm just trying to think. I've done 8 so far.
0, 1,
0
2,
to 7,
3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 is Like a Dragon. 8 is Infinite Wealth. Man Who Erased His Name. Ishin.
Pirate
Yakuza is 12.
I think that's it. I'm not including Judgment in those either.
But the thing is, I would do the Judgment games along the way.
So 14.
I
think that's it. Yeah, I'll go with that. I've definitely got that 14. That's a lot.
And
And you
obviously,
know,
yeah,
funny,
and 13 before I can even feel like I want to play the latest one. I'm just checking to see if there's anything that I've missed along the way.
I don't think you have.
I don't think we've. No, I think we caught everything there. I'm actually relatively impressed in the fact that I was
I'm
able to,
impressed
considering I've
too.
not played a single one of them.
I'm really impressed. And you know what the funny thing is? They're all good games. It's something that Sonic is not. So I don't know what Sega's doing wrong with Sonic. But they
Yeah,
seem
they've
to
got
be
to
able to
double
nail
down
the
on
Yakuza
RPG.
games.
Just double down on that team and invest everything in them. But now they're doing what are they developing? The fighting game that was announced during
Oh,
the Game
Virtual
Awards.
Fighter.
Yeah, Virtua Fighter. They're working on Virtua Fighter, and then there was that other game, which is absolutely going to be a Yakuza game anyway. But there was that Project Century, I think it was, that they announced.
Ah, yes.
Busy team that one. I don't know. There's a bit of me though that thinks it seems like Pirate Yakuza is one that I could just jump in on, and it won't matter.
It possibly could.
So
I think
just
there's
for
a couple
shits
of
and
those.
giggles, I could
I think
maybe do it.
I say there's probably a few of those games where you can just jump in. I feel like
Yeah.
with Like a Dragon, you probably could just jump in if you really wanted to start there.
That's fair. But I mean, no. When it comes to the core stuff, I'll definitely be starting at zero and just going from there. But maybe just to get myself to push myself over the line, this could be the sort of thing where okay, I can jump in here. I'm not worried about story stuff. I'm sure it's going to somehow connect, but like in a really dumb way. See, his name's Majima, right? Like I feel like I know
Yes.
everything about this franchise for someone who's not played it.
Yes,
single one.
Majima is correct.
Any others though? Because I've obviously thrown a few games. Or you're going to stick to your guns?
No. Let's stick to those.
So for me, I've mentioned 3 of the games already. So Avowed and Monster Hunter are the 2 big ones. Maybe Like a Dragon if the stars align for me. I am going to continue to play Tales of Grace's F just because, as much as I can review it, because I've been there and done it, it's the same game. I do want to finish it off. Same with Freedom Wars. I want to finish it off as well. But Dynasty Warriors Origins came out, and
Oh, is it?
oh
man.
Yeah, that came out a week or so ago, week and a half ago.
That would explain why. I don't know what happened in the last 2.5 weeks.
You're still a little bit out of the loop. So keen to jump into that one and play that because I hear it's really, really good. What else is there anything else? Oh, Ender Magnolia, which like there was Ender Lilies that came out. It was a Metroidvania that came out. It's kind of the very tail end of last gen. Maybe it even got like a current gen release as well. But that was a really, really cool side-scrolling Metroidvania that I enjoyed, and the sequel came out a couple days ago. So if I can get some time, I'll give that one a go. But beyond that, everything it's all eyes are just pointed towards Monster Hunter. Oh, I should actually mention I forgot to talk about it before because I'm still embargoed properly. But I put together a preview for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I've got a copy of that and I've been playing a bit of it. Jason from the team is doing the real legwork, and he's going to be working with a few different people from different outlets, and I'll be helping them to put together a review discussion for that one, which people will be able to check out on the YouTube channel and the Patch podcast feed as well. I won't really speak too much about it because, in fact, I'll probably just produce it. I'll probably just have it going and, I don't know, disappear and have a beer or something like that and let it play out and come back when they're done. But it's good, but like you have to really be committed to the kind of life sim sort of thing. Like you're all in on, okay, like if you got to go have a wash and a shower because you're going to smell like shit. People aren't going to want to talk to you. If you want to develop a skill, you got to go and read a book about it. But then before you can read the book, you got to learn to read. Like it's full blown leading into that 15th century Bohemia, and you're not playing this game like you would most games. If you see 2 enemies together, you're probably going to die. So avoid them. Try and separate them somehow. Fire a bow and arrow to take one of get one of them in the head with a headshot and put them down. So you can then just whip out your sword and go after the other guy. Like it's really, really brutal, which is not really my speed. It's too sim heavy for me. So I played it for the preview, really enjoyed, really appreciate it for what it is, but it's not a Paul game. So I'll leave that. Jason's going to do the heavy lifting for that, and then people should check out his review in I don't know, week and a half, whenever the review embargo is. But then also the review discussion that will be here on the YouTube channel and the Patch podcast feed. But yeah, beyond that, Tomb Raider 4 to 6 remaster is coming out. Now, admittedly, that does contain Angel of Darkness, which is absolutely the worst Tomb Raider game ever. But I'm keen to jump into those. And then we mentioned it before, Avowed is out on Xbox, keen to play that, and then Monster Hunter Wilds. There's plenty going on, but for the most part, I'm kind of leaning on January releases for now, which is cool. Assassin's Creed bailing on February helped, but yeah, good times. Very much looking forward to getting into Monster Hunter. I mean, for you and I think both of us, that's our most anticipated game of the year, right? So,
which one?
Monster Hunter Wilds?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of time lost to that once we get hands on it.
This is pretty much on my anticipated. So there's GTA 6, right? And then every other game above that of anticipation. And then Monster. So every other game. Like GTA 6 for me is like dead last of anticipation.
That's fair. Yeah, for me, it's kind of somewhere.
Because I know it's going to be the exact same game as every other time. Guarantee you, Betrayal going to be in there because that's what Rockstar does. Go through every GTA game. What's in there? Betrayal. Every damn time.
That's fair.
Red Dead Redemption. Betrayal. Bully. Betrayal. Max Payne. Betrayal.
I mean, it's a good mechanic to like, good story plot device to lean on, right?
I don't know about Midnight Club. There's might be Betrayal in there too. I don't know. Ping pong? I don't know.
Yeah, you went to put your foot down on the clutch and you're like, oh, betrayed. You're in an automatic now.
Oh, it's a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, Monster Hunter's going to be huge, and I think we're going to be talking about this in our updates episodes for months to come, probably.
While. That could be all year, by the way, I reckon.
That sounds like a challenge.
Long time. That's not on my... Go on.
I think we spoke about it again off camera. Did you pick up... I know we played Rise on the Switch. Did you pick it up on PlayStation at all?
I did. It was on sale.
Yeah, I think we could be playing Monster Hunter all year then. Like, I think between Wilds being the new stuff, maybe going back to Rise, I definitely want to finish Rise on PlayStation this year. Which then will launch into Sunbreak. Like, it's going to be a big year for Monster Hunter. Super keen. I'm hoping when I get my PlayStation report at the end of the year, the PlayStation wrap,
all Monster.
It's just Monster Hunter 1, 2, and 3.
Be 1,000 hours. 900 of that was just Monster Hunter based games.
Well, I checked. So my one for, and the only thing that might cause me a problem here is that my PlayStation wrapped updated. Like it updated up until I think like January 5th or something like that. So it will include some of my Monster Hunter World time from this year. But I'm trying to find it. And of course I can't find it when I need to. But I just can't find it. That sucks. But my top 3, I think my third most played game of last year was about 40 hours or so. So Monster Hunter World is already there. And if I'm going to join you for a bit of co-op, well, that'll probably push it into my top 3. Then you go and add Wilds, which will be number 1, and Rise, which could be thereabouts as well. Probably number 2. I reckon there's a good chance that... Oh, there we go. I finally just found it. There's a pretty decent chance that Monster Hunter could be 1, 2, and 3 on my list this year. So there we go. So my... Oh no, that's trophies. Make game time. Oh no, there we go. Yeah, my number 1 game last year had 80 hours in it. That was Rebirth. But then my number 2 was Visions of Mana with 42 hours. SteamWorld Heist was number 3 with 32 hours. So Monster Hunter World has already ticked off the equivalent of my number 2 from last year.
In 1 month.
Keen. Real keen. It's going to be big. Looking forward to it. Any other thoughts at all?
None.
All right. Let's wrap it up then. If you enjoyed this episode of Patch, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All the buttons down below. Hit the notification bell. That way you're alerted to every new video the moment it goes live on the channel. That includes Patched, Player 2 Plays, and more. There's a whole bunch of shorts as well. Go check all of those out. Visit the website, player2.net.au, for reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, links to the podcast series Patched, the Player 2 Pixelcast, and Dev Diary. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au, kicking a few bucks. Lower tiers, early access. Higher tiers, monthly episode exclusives. And finally, there's Twitter /Blue Sky. Matto.
Matto_Phil or Matto Phil.
Myself, Paul James Games for both. Player2au. We're dropping it on Twitter, so Blue Sky there. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you later.